Thanks very much for following along with our email series, The 6 Pillars of ERP Success. I know your time's valuable and we certainly respect it. By now, you've learned a little bit about how strategic alignment and governance and process design and data all kind of work together to drive a predictable, high-performing implementation. To close out this series, I wanted to share something a little bit more personal. A brief video that reflects on conversations that I oftentimes have with boards and steering committees and executives before we take on a transformation and as the program progresses. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 topics that seem to come up over again. One question we're often asked is, what are the early warning signs that our project may be falling off the rails, that our schedule may be drifting? Another question we're often asked is, well, what separates high-performing steering committees from those that don't govern as well? And the third question is really all around readiness. And these are readiness questions we are actually asking our clients' leadership teams before they're asked to sign off on a cutover readiness assessment. In terms of things that cause projects to drift or slip, there are a few major indicators. And I think from an executive level, one of the first things to understand is whether or not your organization can apply sufficient time, your people, to the project to deliver. There are no perfect benchmarks in this, but a good baseline we like to apply just to kind of get the thoughts flowing is that for every hour of consulting time that you're purchasing, you can expect to spend between 6 to 10 hours of internal time on the project. So really, before you even embark on the project, it's important to take stock of whether you have the capacity allocated to the project to deliver what's on your plate. As the project evolves, things to keep your finger on the pulse of to make sure that you're going to be able to hit your targets relate to business processes and the design and the testing. Do you have a comprehensive listing of all your business scenarios? What has to be tested, what has to be cross-functionally validated, and ultimately what has to be trained. And that gives you an objective measure to see how your organization is doing relative to the implementation of those processes. And the last area that's often underestimated is all in relation to data. The data that needs to be identified and cleansed and transformed and then ultimately migrated into the new system. Those work streams take a lot of time, the data side of things and the reporting side of things. The next question we often get asked is, well, if we're going to be leading this project as a steering committee, what separates the really good steering committees from those that are perhaps less effective? In our view, the steering committee is an absolutely critical layer of the project organizational chart. And the steering committee is in many ways responsible for enabling the teams to do their jobs, for empowering the internal folks and the external folks. Just as importantly, the steering committee is there to make critical decisions. The steering committees that are less effective are those that tend to be recipients of status updates. Project teams come in, they provide their yellow, red, green status updates, and the steering committee goes on its way. Those that do a really good job are ones that are controlling the project, the ones that are removing roadblocks, that are assuring that the design as it's being implemented is going to drive the business strategies that underpin the business case. The steering committees that are effective are the ones that are removing roadblocks in the organization, those that may interfere with adoption. So my advice to you, if you are on the leadership team, is to take an active role, to understand deeply where the project is, where it's going, what the blockers are. Don't be a passenger on the bus, be the conductor, be the driver. The last piece is not so much questions we get asked, but it's questions we ask our clients' leadership teams before they're asked to sign off on a go, no-go readiness assessment. So a few key questions as you approach go live that are important to keep top of mind. First off, have our processes been rigorously tested in multiple testing cycles to prove that they work functionally, cross-functionally, and day-in-the-life scenarios? Have they been tested with security? Have they been tested from a performance and a load perspective? Next question we often ask is, are your end users well trained? Are they ready to take the baton on day one go live? What's their confidence level in terms of executing the new business processes? Have they been tested on their proficiency in the new system? Ultimately, their proficiency is going to determine how well your company performs in the early stages. And the more learning they have to do on the job, the slower it is going to be for them to adopt the new processes and for your organization to realize the business benefits. And of course, another key area that's worth understanding is the state of the data. How clean and how accurate is the data in the new system? Are you going into your new environment with a clean bill of health? Is the static data clean? The dynamic data that you're bringing over at the last minute, do you have a good process to make sure that you're getting in those open orders on time, for example? These are things that are really important to take stock of and will help you control the outcomes as you embark in the new world. And so it's worth stating, just to wrap up, that once you go forward in the implementation, you want to satisfy yourself that you have a really good hypercare structure to hold the hands of people as they start operating on day 1, on day 20, on day 30. It's going to take your people longer, the work's going to be harder, and they're going to have questions. Make sure they're well supported in the organization. Again, for Pemeco Consulting, I'm Jonathan Gross. Thank you for your time and look forward to continuing the discussion with you.